Hello and welcome back to Bits and Bobs. Today's video is the story of the 1950 and 51 penny. What is the reason behind them being so rare? These coins were both minted towards the end of the reign of King George VI, and so his portrait here by Humphrey Paget features on the obverse of both of these coins, as the only portrait used of him throughout his reign. Now the 1950 penny has a mintage of only 240,000, and a value today of £20 in worn condition and up to £115 in uncirculated. The 1951 is even rarer, with only 120,000 being made, and a value now of £30 to £150 in worn and uncirculated condition. There was also some proofs released that year. In 1950, 17,513 proof coins, pennies were released, £50 value today, and in 1951, 20,000 proof pennies were released with a value of about £50 today to collectors. But why is this? Why so rare? Why so few made when usually there's up to sometimes tens and hundreds of millions of pennies made each year? Well, as we can see, 1949 was also a fairly rare year, with before mintages over 50 million a year, and that one only has 14 million that year. And then as we can see, much rarer, down to 50 and 51. That's because none were really needed until 1961, as there were so many pennies in circulation. 1952 didn't go into circulation, 1953 wasn't meant to, only did by popular demand as it had a new portrait, the Queen now being on coins, and then after 1953, none was circulated up until 1961, as during the late 40s and all of the 50s, no pennies were needed for circulation. And so the 1951 and 50 pennies that had been made were kept in storage until 1956, 5 years after the last one of those being made, just in storage at the Royal Mint. Then, in 1956, 230,000 of the 1950 and 100,000 of the 1951, roughly, were brought out of storage ready to circulate. But not to circulate in the UK, as I said, there was no pennies needed. They were sent to circulate in Bermuda, a British territory in the western North Atlantic. However, the coins didn't stay there for long, as after hearing about this, British collectors and British coin dealers went there to get as many as possible, as they knew the mintage figures, as this was 1956 by now, and they even offered the locals £1 for the pennies if they couldn't get them in change in banks. Any way they could get their hands on 1950 and 51 pennies. And after catching on, Bermudans themselves would collect as many as possible and then bring them to the UK to sell. So it wasn't long before all of the 1950 and 51 pennies, or most of them at least, returned to the United Kingdom, thanks to collectors and coin dealers. But what about the other ones, the ones that were left in storage? Well, there are rumours that some were sent to the Bahamas for the same sort of reason, and perhaps they were also brought back by collectors. But if not, if that rumour's not true, then were they melted down? Unless the Royal Mint sold them as well, seeing the popularity of buyers, then they may well have been melted down, making them even rarer. Now, in my collection, I'm lucky enough to have the 1950 penny here. In not too bad condition, actually, with a bit of dirt on it, perhaps a bit of darkening, but actually the condition and the wear is very nice. So lucky enough to have a 1950 penny in my collection, and lucky enough to have a 1951 penny in my collection. This is a very, very nice coin, as you can see. I'd say sort of extremely fine condition, perhaps maybe even near uncirculated. Very, very little wear or damage on this coin, and the obverse is just the same, with a great portrait of George VI, and of course this is the rarer of the two. So this is a great coin to have in my collection, as is this, and a great pair as well. And please do comment down below if you have either the 1950, 51, or both in your collection, as I'd be interested to know how many of you have them. So there we go, the story of the 1950 and 1951 pennies. Thank you very much for watching. We hope you've enjoyed the video and learned something new as well. And of course, if you have, please do subscribe to the channel to learn more and enjoy more coin videos that we make. See you then on Bits and Bobs. Bye.